Good morning. This is Ron Brown. It's 11:30 in the morning on Friday. I'm doing my weekend video on Friday while the market's open because I want to show you intraday prospecting techniques if you're the type of trader that can sit around and watch the market during the day, or at least sometime during the day. You don't have to sit there all the time. But anyway, I just want to show you what the market is right now. Before I get into HGSI, I'm on the comp right now. You can see that it's down a little bit. It's been all over the place today. If I zoom in on this, you can see that it opened clear down here, traded up through the former support, and that was rejected from that. This was support going back to here. It blew through there on Monday, and then there was a massive rally, or an intraday rally, followed through on Tuesday, stalled out on Wednesday, and then Thursday was a very ugly candle, and now it is trying to get past this short-term resistance. These are just things that I look at, observe, see what's on the left. You always have to look back to the left for support and resistance. Anyway, the market's really doing nothing today. It's the S&P 400's down 1.17, the Dow's down 0.8, the S&P 600's down 0.47. So it doesn't look like much of a market to look for trades, either long or short, because it's just chopping around. But that's really not the case, and I'm going to show you that when I get into HGSI. So I'm going to minimize this, and I'm in HGSI right now. I'm going to go to my industries. I'll go under tools. I'll rebuild indexes in group. It's rebuilding all of these indexes, and they're being updated with current stock information because Thinkorswim, as you saw, is running in the background, and I'm updating every 5 minutes. Now the next thing I'm going to do, I have these smart groups, these user smart groups. So I want to update my user smart groups. I'm going to go to my tools and go to rebuild user smart groups. Now I have quite a few user smart groups, so it takes a minute probably to go through and build all of these. And let's see where we are here. I'm running Windows 11 on this computer now. I installed it. I did it so I could see if HGSI worked properly, and I'm having no problems with it. So if anybody's reluctant about upgrading to Windows 11, it seems to work fine. Okay, now I'm in my user smart groups here. I have several in here, and I'm only going to talk about this folder right here, the intraday market indicators, and I'm only going to go into stocks and groups up and down. Now I want to limit this to stocks that trade 1 million shares of volume minimum, and the way I've got this filter set up, it cuts off at 100 securities. So I'll click through to my warehouse views and click through to the end of day. I will have to make sure I'm on intraday. Here are the industry group percentages, and you can see that many of these stocks in groups are up. Semiconductor manufacturing, the group is up 1.48%. But if I go down here, you can see that some of these groups are negative, but the stocks are positive. Now, here's a stock that turned negative since I rebuilt the smart group, so the majority of these are positive. Now, this view, I want you to start thinking in terms of these columns right here. Days since the 3 crossed the 6, days down since the 3 crossed the 6, days since the volume point of control crossed the 10, or the 10-day crossed, and then days down So just by looking here, I don't even have to look at a chart right now. I can see that this stock is up today, but the AMKR, it crossed 5 days ago to the downside on the 3 and the 6, and the same thing on the VPOC, but it's up today. So let's take a look at it. And you can see that using this chart, that the crossover on the 3 and 6 was back here, and the same thing on the volume point of control. I'll put a crosshair on here so we can see this easier, but it's up today, and there's a low volume test, so this is an awfully loose chart. I really would not trade it. It's too loose, but I'm pointing out that you can look at this scorecard based upon these numbers and tell how fresh these signals are. Now let's look at AMAT. You can see that 2 days ago the 3 crossed up through the 6, 0's the crossover day, and same thing on the volume point of control. So let's look at this. Here's where the 3 crossed the 6 right here, and the volume point of control also crossed. And what are we getting? We're getting some follow through today after a very negative day yesterday. Now let's go down here and let's look at EOG resources. I just picked this because the 3 and the 6 crossed over 16 days ago. The VPOC crossed over 17. So what do you think the chart's going to look like on a stock like this? It's more than likely going to be an LLUR, at least in the short term, and you can see that's exactly what it was. It crossed over clear back here. Now let's drop down and take a look under the charts in the 4 folder under cut and rally. You can see that using the undercut and rally, these light green bars were accumulation bars, and then the crossover occurred here. And what was the price? Around 87, 87.15. And where are we today? Well, we're up at 104.41. So this undercut and the rally worked here, and you can see what happened. Look at the group up here. It bottomed here and it started moving up. And people with a lot of courage can take these low volume tests and hope for the best, but here was a test and it continued to go down. But these are signs of accumulation before the move up. So what I've been doing, and the reason I put these columns in here was for this very purpose. I can tell how old a signal is, which ones are fresh. Now this one here, Allison Transmission, it's the 3 crossed the 6 14 days ago, but the VPOC just crossed yesterday. So what does that tell us? It tells us that it's more than likely a short-term LLUR, and there was a pullback and a re-entry today. Okay, here's the pullback. You can see it right down here on the VPOC, and here is the re-entry, which was actually yesterday, not today, but it's following through today. So just by looking down this column and looking for the zeros, if there are many, you can see that the crossover happened. Now here is one ATIP where the VPOC crossed over yesterday. Let's see what happened to that stock. I'm updating. I think it was ATIP. There it is. So the 3 is still below the 6, but the VPOC crossed. Let's take a look at it, and you can see that it is moving up now. It's an inexpensive stock. But there's just a lot of information in these columns. Now here is, well, let's look for, I'm going to sort up here. You sort on this column, you can tell the stocks that crossed over, this crossed over a month ago, days since the VPOC. So that tells me it crossed over, pulled back, and is going again. Is that the case? Here's your, there it went here. It pulled back right here on the volume point of control, and now it's going again. So just remember that you can use this view intraday to figure out the length of time a stock has been active. Now I'm going to sort on the zeros here. So these tell me, or this here tells me both the 3 and the 6 crossed over yesterday, as did the VPOC, and it's up 2.13% today. So there's an entry that may just be going. It's a good group. Let's look. There's Allison Transmission. Let's find one more of these here. Omega Healthcare Investors. So what does this say? Short-term LLUR, and it pulled back and had a crossover on the VPOC yesterday. It's up a little bit today. Okay, there's, if you look down here at the VPOC, there's your pullback, and now it's starting to move again. So the point I'm trying to make is, even though the indexes are really doing nothing today, in fact they're negative, there are plenty of opportunities just by using these scans in the user smart groups. Now I have a bunch of them here. These are trading at least $1 million. I have institutional, no biotechs. This one contains biotechs. So there's all kinds of these in here. If you have a favorite, I just chose the 1 million volume to make sure that these stocks had good liquidity. Now another thing, of course, you can do is sort on the raw combo, and this is the intraday range and the intraday price change, and it's going to bring the stocks to the top of the list that are exhibiting these qualities. Intraday range is weighted at 50%, as is the intraday one-day change. So if I bring this stock up, it's a very cheap stock, as you can see, but it's up 8.43%, and it's trading at the top of its trading range. Here's that ATPI. Shift Pixie, I don't know this stock well. Look at the price, but still, big, huge gain today. Now, if you look over here, you can see that the VBOC was still negative yesterday. Go down here to the chart on the right-hand side. It is now positive today after this move. Now, let me show you some other things you can do. I'm going to use my files here under my daily prospecting. I'm going to, well, I'm in this right here. I'm going to go to impulse reaction, see if there's anything. Impulse reaction just means these are strong stocks and they pulled back a little bit from the prior day, and now they're going up. Let's look at another one here. See if I can find a better example. Strong stock, pulled back a day or two, and now it's setting up again. That's the purpose of this scan. Pulled back a day or two, setting up again. Okay, let's go on down the list. Bullish crossover today, that ATI physical. This is 3 and 6 crossover. The VPOC is positive. There's a 2-day window. You can see that these columns correspond to this. Here's your VPOC, positive, and a 2-day window on the 3 crossing the 6. Okay, let's go down to the next one. This has pocket pivots also. So if I bring up, let's bring this one up. You can see that yesterday there was a pocket pivot. Okay. Continuation indicator. Now the continuation indicator requires a pocket pivot. Well, let's take a look at this filter here. Either a 5 or a 10-day pocket pivot. The days since the 3 crossed the 6, it's greater than 0. And the days since a 6 crossed the 18 and the VPOC is positive. What I'm looking for are stocks that have taken off and they are getting confirmation here. They've crossed over the 3 and the 6. The VPOC's positive, and they're getting confirmation from pocket pivots. And you can see there are 3 days of pocket pivots here. Let's see if I can find a stock that's a little more expensive here. These are all pretty inexpensive, but here we go. Here was the pocket pivot yesterday. There's a pocket pivot today also. These are volume pocket pivots. They're not true pocket pivots which occur down here. They can be, but they're volume pocket pivots, which means that the up volume is greater than any down volume over 5 or 10 days. And this is actually a 5 and 10 day pocket. This would be a 10-day pocket pivot. It's a 5-day now. If it closes up here at the top of this magenta bar, it's going to be a 10-day pocket pivot because it'll be higher than any down volume over the previous 10 days. So that's my continuation indicator. Now there's not going to be anything on the counter trends. Perfect speculator. These are stocks that recently hit a 52-week high. If you look over here, the days since, these all hit a 52-week high yesterday. Just flip through these very quickly. So what you can do is isolate. Okay, I'm going to go down here, and there will be no counter trends. Here's 52-week high, most active up. If you want to find out of this group the stocks that are most active, you just come down here, click on this, and you can find the most active ones. A lot of these really cheap ones are the most active. Here's Splash Beverage Group. I'm not seeing much in the way of more expensive stocks here. Okay, let's keep going. High relative volume. You can see the stocks that are trading high relative volume. And then if you want to see when the earnings dates are on these, if they're coming up, just click on raw combo, and these will be sorted in the descending order. The next earnings dates are at the top of the list. But let's go a little further here. Let's say you're more of a fundamental trader. Let's go down to folder number 14. This is 40% revenue increase. Kirk RS of 80. There's nothing in here. But let's go down here to earnings momentum, quality momentum, and fundamental scan. So if I click on the intraday, you can see that these stocks are going up. And let's take a look at this filter. Net profit margin has to be greater than or equal to 10. The return on equity has to be greater than or equal to 10. EPS change and revenue change this quarter greater than they were same quarter 1 year ago. Has to be at least 50% off the 52-week low. And there are several that meet this requirement. Now, quality momentum with at least a 750,000 share average is here. Now this is EPS and revenue growth with rising earnings estimates. Okay, let's take a quick look at this filter. Revenue change is greater than 0, and so is the previous. Same on the EPS change. EPS projected current quarter greater than 0. So this is looking for stocks that are projecting earnings growth this quarter too. Let's just take a look at one of these stocks. I'm trying to find something that's more expensive, but I can't seem to find anything. So we'll use this one, Peabody Energy. You can see the earnings growth compared to 1 year ago. It's up 254%. The prior quarter is up 72.4. The revenue is up 1.2% over a year ago, and the prior quarter it's up 15.4. What's the projected earnings estimate? Up to be 227.78% greater than the same quarter last year. We're also looking at a very strong group. This is coal. And I don't know if you want to invest in coal or not, but anyway, that's what the filter is pulling up. Let's find let's look at another one here. The marine shipping stocks have been strong, and you're going to see some great numbers in here too. I'm not going to read these off, but you can go in and look at these. GOGL. The group has been really strong. It pulled back for a day or two, but notice it's up today on a low volume test. Now, I'm not going to go through every one of these. You can check out the filters yourself if you're a member of the Insider Club. Just go in and look at the filters and figure out how I came up with these. But these are, well, let me do the intraday. See, these stocks are all down yesterday. Here's the intraday. They're all up today. You know, stocks don't go straight up, just like markets don't go straight up. Well, this one was trying to go straight up, wasn't it? I don't think it wasn't down yesterday. Accumulation starting to move. These undercut and rally charts are really show us a lot. I mean, this was accumulation. This was being accumulated several days all the way down, the light green lines. But it really doesn't mean anything until the 3 starts flattening out and crossing. Here it crossed, but, you know, that was a bad signal. But look at the group. You always look at the group, too. Group was flat along with the stock. The group started going down. This stock started going down, too. Then the group turned up a little bit, but now the group seems to be flat again. What is this? Application software. Okay. That's a huge group. How many stocks? 248 in this industry. So all of these stocks are not going to move together when you have that many stocks. So you need to look at the number of stocks in an industry to see how much influence that group may or may not have. Look at the group rank. It's a 6. Let's go back to that marine shipping group. You can see there's 56 in there. The group rank is only 56, but it's moving up. Now, if you don't want to waste your time looking at stocks that are down at the bottom, you can use, let me see if I can get over here to this. EMA fan. Look at the ones where the fan is up. Just sort on that. And then you can see that the fan is up. The 200, the 100, the 50, and the 18. These are stocks that are stronger if the fan's up and there's more interest in them. Fan is up. Fan is up. Look at that beauty. That's Lloyd's. Up. Okay, now I'm going to click on a fan not up. And it brings up a stock that is very inexpensive and just really not doing anything. The fan is not complete here. It's starting to go up on this one. But remember, we need to have these moving averages stacked in the correct order. So in review, let's go back in here. And I'll do this if I'm sitting here looking for some potential trades. Just go in here, rebuild indexes and groups. Takes no time to rebuild these industry groups. And then rebuild the user smart groups. Now, these don't change all that, well, they can change very quickly. Yesterday I saw them change very quickly. Early in the day, the semiconductors were up sharply, and then within an hour or two, they were completely off the list of stocks and groups that were moving up. Okay, so user smart groups, intraday market groups. Let's look at a different one this time. These are stocks that have at least a 50% institutional sponsorship. I have to take my filter off. I'm going to click through to here, and then I would start up here with my 1A filter. I would sort on the industry group first. I'd do a secondary sort, go down to intraday, sort on intraday percentage price change, and then the stocks that have moved the most and are trading in the upper part of their range are going to come to the top of the list. Here's Neighbors Industries, and you can see that it's trading near the top. If I drop down to the chart number 4, it'll give me the intraday statistics on this. You can see the range is at 97.81. Here's the percentage price change. The volume is not that great on these, but you know, you don't always have to have high volume stocks. Let's see what the institutional sponsorship is. .1% of these shares are held by institutions. You can see that there are some really good entries on many of these stocks. Okay, that's it. It's a powerful tool to find what's going on in the market, even when the indexes are doing nothing, and even when the indexes are going down, you can find good stocks. Every one of these groups has stocks that are going up, even though the groups are going down. I better restate that. These groups are going up and the stocks are going up, but there are also many stocks in groups that are not going up, but the stocks are going up, and they're doing quite well. So this is a powerful scan, or these are powerful scans to find out where the strength is intraday. Thanks for listening. Have a good weekend. It's a 3-day weekend with Martin Luther King Day on Monday, so the markets are closed.